So, what is it really that I have learned from life? Is one supposed to choose a side? I mean, I'm not asking that, but it seems like a person is always looking to feel good, or you have some that seem to always delve into misery, and they call that good. But either way, there's this constant back and forth of being on one side or the other. And when someone is on one side or the other, it can feel like there is no other side. When you're on that side, it's called as good. And when you're on this side, it can feel like there's no other side as well. So what have I learned in life? It's not about trying to be on one side or the other. But when you're in one side or the other, there's something there to be learned. You're not there for nothing. If you feel like shit, it's not for nothing. And it's not your job to try to figure out why. You don't need to get lost in this large, elaborate story as to why and try to figure it out. The simple fact is your body feels icky when you're on the side that you classify as bad. You feel icky. And if you chew a gum that doesn't taste good, do you keep it in your mouth? Or do you spit it out? And when you spit it out, does the taste stay in your mouth for a while? Does it go away after a while? When you eat gum or tasty things that you really like, do you fear its loss? Do you fear it disappearing from your taste buds? In here, are you living in here? So it's beyond good and bad. Life is not about good and bad, right and wrong. Those are experiences. We go through those. We've labeled those types of experiences as good and bad. And when we go through them, as we're going through them, if we're spending all our time trying to, get away from it, trying to go to the other, or, kind of, I don't like this, denying it or trying to hold on to it, then you miss the whole point of the experience in the first place. You're not supposed to learn something so that you can avoid any of these or get to one and not get this one. See, most people in the spiritual journey reach for this, the good. They reach for that side. And when they're on this side, there's this assumption that there's something wrong and you need to do some more inner work so that there's only this. If you can separate yourself from both and just see things happening as they're happening without doing anything, trying to change anything is what I mean, without trying to change anything, without trying to accept, without trying not to accept. If one can just stay kind of, language is so difficult to really, people are going to misinterpret, but if you can stay separate, and so to speak, like, for example, if you're at the top of a tree looking down, and there's something down there, let's say there's a bunch of water and you don't want to get your feet wet, well, you're up on top of the tree, it's there, but it's not really a concern. You're kind of separated from the experience even though you're there. And inside, at least in myself, and from what I understand, spiritual teachings and all that stuff, and having practiced a lot of them, there's enormous value to being able to see something with a certain amount of distance, because you don't get sucked into, you don't get polarized. Polarized means you have a thought that you like or dislike, and then you either choose a side for and against. So you don't go through that mind process, or at least you notice it happening within you, where your mind says, yes, I really like this, or no, I really don't like this. You can see it happening inside of you without identifying as it's happening to me. Because that's where the feeling of wanting to run from the whole thing comes from, is the intense feeling of me that you're currently experiencing when you're on either of those sides. It's the intensity of me. This is happening to me that creates the whole problem in the first place. One is so good you don't want to drop, one is so shitty you want to avoid. So this creates a whole plethora of reactions, habitual reactions, that you just, your mind will say certain thoughts and will have a certain feeling attached in those certain situations. And so anyways, I'm just gonna wrap it up and say this. What have I learned in life? Is to let things be. Let things be. And find peace there. The peace that's already there. Have a great day. A good night. Whenever you're watching this. Peace.